Hello there and welcome. This new segment brought to you 100% by humans. Now that might be the way we have to open all our content these days. There's new research out this week that surveyed 1,000 marketers over the last 3 months who identified as working on their company's content initiatives. And one of the major findings, well, 7 out of 10 of them believe that artificial intelligence will replace writers on their teams over the next 5 years. Surprising? Maybe not. Fear is running pretty high these days. Misguided? Probably. Want to know more? Well, this is 5 minutes of what you need to lead in marketing. Let's roll. Hello everybody, Robert Rose here with the news. It is what's new, but as you know, it's more importantly, what's important in the world of marketing. And for the best and best practices in content and marketing, head on over to contentmarketinginstitute.com. Well, there is a lot going on in the world of marketing, content, and the pending disruption to both of those practices from generative AI. We have covered it here before, and we will no doubt cover it again in the future as things progress. But one of the more interesting developments this week was that the PR Council has now issued guidelines on the uses of generative AI and the ethical uses most specifically. The PR Council is, of course, an association that helps support agencies with education, thought leadership in the world of earned media. And in their newly released guidelines, which are based on their existing code of ethics and principles, they've outlined a number of guardrails that provide guidance into the use of generative AI. Namely, that agencies should exercise a whole lot of caution in putting confidential client information into generative AI tools. For example, they say, you should not use it to create the first draft of a press release of a new product, or use it for constructing or rewriting internal memos for staff, or client business plans, or confidential analyst reports. One of the guidelines also recommends disclosure to clients of generative AI tools that are used in any part of the creative process. They call for either global wording in contracts that agencies sign with clients, or if it's more infrequently used, to call it out on individual pieces of work. There are a few others, of course, and it's definitely worth a read, especially if you're in the business of working with clients, or your team for that matter, on more confidential things and still have the desire to use generative AI to create or summarize content. In other words, don't forget that for now, and for now is the operative word there, whatever you ask ChatGPT to summarize is also becoming a part of its learning model. And I say for now because it looks like OpenAI may soon introduce a new product that will allow you to segment your content from the overall learning model. This is also an existing feature in many of the marketing AI tools that we've taken a look at. But then, interestingly, maybe us humans, we're expendable after all. A new research study emerged this week from BMV Media Ventures, and they found some interesting things when it comes to content marketing and AI. They interviewed more than 1,000 marketers with about a 30-30-40 split between B2B, B2C, and agencies, and they found some interesting things. Aligning with CMI's research on this topic, they found that 45% of marketers are increasing their content marketing budgets in 2023. That's the good news. The bad news is, however, these same marketers, they're worried about generative AI. Nearly 7 in 10 believe that AI writing tools like ChatGPT will replace at least some of their writers over the next 5 years. The other third of marketers, by the way, believe that AI platforms will only supplement their work of the writers that they have in the next 5 years rather than outrightly replace them. Now, what's our take here at CMI? I'm actually coincidentally writing about this very topic for the next version of my rose-colored glasses column at Content Marketing Institute. And I can tell you that I believe these numbers. Right now, fear is high, it is strong, and it's being fomented by people out there. I don't really know why they're doing it. They're just doing it. Maybe it's best summed up in a bumper sticker trope that seems to perpetuate my social media feed these days, where people say, AI won't replace you, but someone using AI will. I think that is just stupid. Now, that's not to say it won't end up being true for some people, but then I would rewrite that bumper sticker as AI shouldn't replace you, but there will be some misguided and short-sighted people who think it can. The PR Council's guidelines give us great pause to actually how we want this new tool, generative AI, to change what it is we do. Do we want to replace smart, insightful people who can handle confidential information, provide insight, actually challenge the status quo? Because AI is not going to do any of that. If you ask AI to write a press release about a product, a new product for you, no AI in the world is going to go, hey, you know what, maybe you shouldn't do that. That's probably not a good idea. Maybe you want to write it yourself, or maybe you want to do a paid media campaign instead of a press release. It will dutifully comply and write you a press release. Trust me, I want humans who can recognize and be wise enough to have the empathy, insight, strategic vision to make that call, and by the way, recognize great content when they see it. Can it make these people, these writers, 30% more efficient and give them 30% more time to be insightful? Absolutely. Well, so count me into that third who believe that AI platforms will supplement our work rather than replace us, at least for those who aren't dumb people who are going to rely on firing people because I don't know why they're doing that. It's just silly. Just remember, folks, there's value in the storyteller, and just by being there, they infuse value into your story. If they weren't already there, if that value wasn't already there, well, you would already be laying them off. AI isn't going to replace that value. There's a lot more to talk about here, and so watch for my column on this in the coming days, and, well, watch this space, because we're going to continue to be on top of what's going on in AI and the world of content creation. But let me know in the comments, too, how are you feeling about your future in content and creativity in the world of generative AI? But now, for now, that's it. That's 5 minutes of what's new that hopefully you can use to lead your marketing strategy. I'm Robert Rose, and remember, as always, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. I'll see you next week.